This is Grandmaster Daniel Naroditsky, and we have a very special treat for you. One of the very first available footage of Hikaru Nakamura that is in our possession from the Gibraltar Masters 2008. Yes, you heard that right, 2008. Hikaru Nakamura was already winning tournaments, and he was playing a finals tiebreaker blitz match against Chinese Grandmaster Bu Xiangzhi. Now, you can understand what the available level of technology was in 2008, and so this video is going to be choppy. It is going to skip around, but we are still going to watch this very, very special footage of Hikaru Nakamura in 2008 facing off in a blitz match against Chinese Grandmaster Bu Xiangzhi. And let's dive in. We can see the handshake there, d4 by Hikaru. Bu Xiangzhi casually responding with the Slav, and Hikaru quickly executing a very peaceful line of the Slav. He plays e3, and Bu responding with the move g6. That is one of the most reputable and solid variations of the Slav. And one other important piece of context is that the players would play 2 match games in their blitz match, and so Bu is satisfied with the draw with the black pieces. And we skip forward a little bit here as Bu plays bishop g4. The opening moves have been played, and Hikaru centralizes his knight on e5. This is still a pretty typical position. Hikaru with a built-up center there. e3 and d4. We make another couple of moves here. Hikaru securing his center, and now we skip to the moment at which the middle game is really entered. Hikaru with a big pawn chain there. You can see the pawns on f3 and e4, both sides with 2 knights. Material is entirely symmetrical. We skip forward again a little bit. You can notice Hikaru's pawn on a5, and it is totally freezing Bu's pawns on a6 and b7. Hikaru looking up there as he tries to figure out how to continue improving his position. Unquestionably a small advantage here for Hikaru in the middle game. And here he starts pushing his center pawns. He plays f4, chasing Bu's knight out of e5. Bu plays knight eg4, and the position beginning to heat up as Hikaru continues to expand in the center. He plays e4, e5, shutting down the queen, and the knight is kicked out of h6. And Hikaru's knight, it worms its way into f6, knifing his way into black's position as he plays g4, continuing to expand on the king side. And look at Bu's knight. It keeps getting tossed around. It's unclear where he should put it. Hikaru is ready to deliver a very powerful check on f6. A big advantage here in the middle game for Hikaru Nakamura. And Bu, he takes an extended think and decides now to bring his knight back to e7. And will Hikaru give a check on f6? No, he plays knight g5. Oh, and he trapped the rook on e6. And now he swings his queen over to h3. And he's attacking the h7 pawn. And all of a sudden, Hikaru is winning. And it's unclear how Bu defends the pawn on h7 and protects the rook on e6 at the same time. He has to give up an exchange. And he plays h5. And Hikaru takes the rook. And now Hikaru's going to open up the king side as well with g takes h5. And Bu's position is collapsing. But the one big asset for black is that knight on d5. That is a monster knight, and Hikaru should not take it lightly. And after a long think, Hikaru takes on h5, opening up an attack on e6. Bu is forced to get that knight out of d5. He takes on f4, attacking the queen, defending e6. Hikaru nodding his head. He's confident in his position. Now, where will he put his queen? Or will he take on d8 first? No, he moves his queen up to h4, hesitates, and now plays it, attacks the rook on d8, attacks the knight on f4. He is ready to infiltrate with the queen on d8. We go forward a little bit. Hikaru has found a way to trade queens, and Bu has gotten his king into the game, but Hikaru with a winning endgame. He's managed to trade queens. He's up in exchange. He has Bu's knight on f4 pinned, and he's also up. Well, no, he's not up a pawn, so it's just 2 rooks and 3 pawns versus a rook knight on 3 pawns, but Hikaru still has to navigate his way into a win as Bu. He's managed to activate his king and his knight, but Hikaru giving a check, tossing the king away. King moves back to g5. Hikaru moves rook f2. He gets the knight out of e2, and he is completely winning. Knight c1 by Bu. He tries to keep his knight alive, but Hikaru, look at the patience with which he plays. h3, preparing rook g4 check. He's going to toss black's king to the side of the board, and now he's going to deliver a ladder checkmate. Here comes the rook to f7. He threatens a mate on h7. It's unclear what Bu should do. His back is against the wall. He's already down in exchange, and now he's getting mated as well in the endgame. He can't take the pawn on e5 because of the ladder checkmate on h7. The king is forced to drop back to h6. We skip forward again a couple of moves. Hikaru's made a pass pawn, and now he's pushing it forward. He's only a couple of moves away from converting this first game of the tiebreaker. And now, what a move by Hikaru! e7, what a show-stopping move. And if Bu takes the rook on e4, Hikaru would have had a check on e6, and that would have led to a rook trade. And now Hikaru's up 2 pawns as well. Bu manages to win back the exchange, but he's still down 2 pawns, and Hikaru with a pretty simple technical task here as he moves his king to safety. King f3. Bu cannot take the pawn on e7 because the pawn on game is lost, and he extends his hand in resignation. Hikaru winning game 1 of the blitz tiebreaker in the final of the 2008 Gibraltar Masters. A handshake, the arbiter starts the clock, and off they go for the second game. This time, the colors are reversed. The Chinese Grandmaster has the white pieces in a must-win situation. A draw is unsatisfactory now. He has to win in order to level the score in the blitz match and tie this finals match. And after a long think, Hikaru decides to play the same exact opening that his opponent played in the previous round, a Slav defense, one of the most solid openings in existence. And Bu plays it a little bit differently. He gets his dark squared bishop out to g5, Hikaru looking up at the sky, trying to remember the theory, and he gets his other knight out to d7. And look at Black's central construction. This is known as the semi-Slav, where Black has that pawn triangle with the pawn on d5 safely protected by its two cousins on c6 and e6. Now, Hikaru's dark squared bishop generally in these types of positions will go out to d6. It'll go out in the middle of the triangle. And an interesting choice by Bu as he takes on d5, releasing the central tension pretty early on. Now, I don't know about that call, given that Bu has to win this game, but he's probably going down some sort of line of his preparation. Hikaru taking a pretty extended think here before recapturing with the e-pawn, and this leads to what is known as the Carlsbad structure. Now they've transposed into a very, very well-known line, and hence they are playing so quickly. Hikaru playing rook e8, preparing to get that d7 knight back around over to f8 in order to open up his light squared bishop. This line has been in existence for really over 100 years, and the plans are very well known. And Bu there with rook a to e1. And we skip forward a little bit. We have a trade on e4, Bu expanding in the center. We have a middle game here as he continues to try to activate his pieces, and Hikaru has moved his bishop back to f7. Now notice Bu's rooks on e1 and e5, but Hikaru has positioned his own rooks on e8 and d8. But look at the attack that the Chinese Grandmaster has developed as he plays knight g5, attacking the queen, and rook takes e5 by Hikaru. An amazing response. And if Bu takes the queen, then Hikaru will take the rook on e1 with check, and then connect rooks in order to keep them against the queen. But Bu goes for that line. He sees nothing better than to play knight takes f7, rook takes e1 check. Bu goes up to f2, attacking the rook. Hikaru connects the rooks, and knight e5 here intercepts the connection between Black's rook, and Hikaru also has to watch for his smothered mate. He might have to give away one of his exchanges, one of his rooks, away for that knight, but he will still have very serious drawing chances. He plays knight takes e5, Bu recaptures the rook, knight f3 check by Hikaru. He's going to take on d4, and he's going to have a rook, a knight, and a pawn for Bu's queen. Will that be enough for Hikaru to secure the draw and win the blitz match? As we skip forward, Bu has activated his king, but his king isn't able to make inroads. He continues to push the pawns, and we skip all the way forward as Hikaru tries to hold a draw and win the blitz match, and Bu unable to make progress as he continues to try to worm his queen around, try to get Hikaru forked, try to fluster Hikaru. But he's not succeeding. King f7 here. You can see a 2-on-3 on the queen side, and there is no way for white to make any progress with his pawns, and Bu continues to shuffle his king back and forth. And there's a lot of tricks here, and a mate by Hikaru. Hikaru mates him and wins the blitz match. What a defensive effort in game 2, and what a blitz match as Bu Xiangzhi smiles. We hope you enjoyed this very first footage of Grandmaster Hikaru Nakamura, and if you like this video, make sure to click the link in the playlist for more of these videos. Thank you for watching.